Hello everyone from beautiful Asuncion in Paraguay. We're going to be looking at two projects and we'll be doing the exact numbers, ROI numbers for both long-term and short-term. The first one being a project that would be interesting for the short-term rental market and where one can expect a net rental yield of 10% after all expenses. If you've been following me for a while, you know that I do not make such statements easily. It's generally very hard to achieve such numbers, but here I genuinely believe that in this project you can. So Matt, you've been helping people get residency here in Paraguay, and you also have a real estate agency. You've been helping people invest from all over the world here in Paraguay. We went around for a few days, looked at a bunch of projects, and I decided that we should show two.
Yes.
This is the first one. Tell us about it.
So this is actually one of our top selling projects at the moment. This is a really unique project. There will be only one. As you can see, there is a big lagoon. So this will be an artificial lagoon, which is pretty unique in a country with no sea. That's a good amenity to have in your project. And we are actually only 10 minutes away from Shopping del Sol, which is the main shopping here in Asuncion. For our investors, this is a really good project. There is nothing similar, as close to Asuncion like this. As you said, we can expect 10% at least for the yield return.
Cool, so we'll have a look at the showroom and then we'll sit down, we'll do all of the numbers. But yeah, effectively the thesis is pretty simple. You have Asuncion, you have the really nice areas, you have the airport, and this sits pretty much in between the airport and the really nice areas. 10 minutes to the airport, 10 minutes to the nice areas, 20 minutes when there's traffic. I mean, Asuncion is a city where there isn't much to do. We are literally in the middle of nowhere. I mean, this is the very definition of Paraguay. And then suddenly in the middle of the capital city, you will have a massive lagoon. Can you tell us about the size of the lagoon?
So the superficie of the lagoon is 6,000 square meters, and the deepest point should be around 2.4 meters. So you can swim around. You will have 8 towers around the development. So that's really good when we talk about investment, because every time a tower is launched, the price increases. So if you enter early on the project, you will always have really good capital gains. Also around the development, you will have everything. Basically a restaurant, beach bar, paddle course, football course, volley course, really big gym. As you may know, in the buildings in Asuncion, the gyms are really ridiculous.
Yeah, they're a bit small.
So in this kind of development, you have like more than 100 square meter gym with everything you can think of. So that's really makes a difference.
And what about the infrastructure around? Because when we came this morning, the roads were a bit beat up. I know we're close to the center, but the roads are pretty beat up. Is anything being done about the infrastructure?
At the moment, this is still a growing neighborhood, but there is a lot of stuff done around. You have seen there is a lot of building and construction. So of course, once the first step of the process is finished, once the first building is delivered, all the road will be ready. Another group made an acquisition next to the project. They will make a supermarket with a lot of commercial stores just by the project.
The reality is real estate is booming in Asuncion and there's a real risk of oversupply. But if you buy into a project like this, I mean, there will not be oversupply of projects like this right next to the center of a booming capital city. I mean, finding tenants here will be so easy. So let's just go have a look at the showroom and then we'll do the numbers there.
So now we are in the showroom. This is a 2-bedroom. You can actually see the quality. That's pretty nice. Really nice decoration, pretty standard, but
yeah,
always good.
So Matt, how much for 1-bedroom apartment here?
So the 1-bedroom apartment starts from $105,000. For the short-term rental, you can expect different rates. During the week, we would be around $60. And during the weekend, of course, there would be a lot more demand. So we increase a little bit the prices. It should be around $80 for 1-bedroom. This is actually still really reasonable prices.
I mean, for access to this, it's pretty cheap. You come with your family, you know, couple, 2 kids, you pay $80 for a night for this experience, for access to the pool, everything for the whole day. Well, not the pool, the lagoon. I think people need to understand there is nothing to do here in Paraguay. There's really nothing to do. Like you can just go out into the Chaco and where it's just desert and there's nothing to do. Or you hang out in the city, you go to cafes, you go to malls, you go hang out at friends' places for asados, barbecues. It's very social, but in terms of activities, it's very limited. And I know I'm repeating this probably for the 3rd time. This is very unique. So you manage quite a few Airbnbs at your agency. What would be your estimated occupancy rate?
Pretty much for this project, as it is really unique, as you said, we expect to be fully booked. The only thing we chose to put 75% occupancy because during some months of the year, it's a bit colder in Paraguay, and obviously the main amenity here is the lagoon. There will always be the restaurant, there will always be the other activities, but during the winter, it will be a little bit more quiet.
Define winter.
Basically, the month of July is probably the coldest month of the year. It should be days around 15 degrees, but for the rest of the years, I mean, it's pretty hot around here.
Excuse him, he's European. He only speaks in Celsius, so about 59 Fahrenheit, which is effectively a Canadian summer.
Basically, yeah.
Talk to us about the expenses.
So basically, you have the HOA. This depends on the square meter that you actually acquire. This should be around $60 per month. Overall, that's pretty low. Also, for the electricity, internet, in our calculation, we put $100, but it should be actually way less than that. And apart from that, this is the administration. People for short term, we can do it for you. We take 15%. Overall, that's a really good return. You should get around 10%. I mean, the number we put are really pessimistic, actually.
Yeah, so the developers were promising a lot more. Obviously, they always do. Then, we looked at more reasonable estimates, and then they were still a bit too good, and we didn't feel too comfortable showing that. So we just okay, let's just put 10%. It's fine. It's fine. 10% is fine. I really think it's very doable. 10% is very doable net once you take into account all the other expenses that are listed there. So who's the target market? Who would be staying in the Airbnb?
So actually there is a lot of different people that can stay here. The main target will be the local people that have enough money to go in this kind of zone because, as you said, there is not too much activity in Asuncion. All the middle class and upper class, they actually want to spend the weekends here. After that, there is also a lot of corporate tourism in Asuncion. So there is Argentinian company, Brazilian companies, and the executives, they come minimum once a month. So they would actually love to stay in these kind of areas. And of course, there is all the foreigners coming for the residency or even staying longer during the year. I mean, who wouldn't like to stay in a place like this?
Yeah, so we did the numbers for the one bedroom unit. I mean, ultimately it's a bit over $2,000 a square meter, a bit over, around $200 per square foot. But there are 3-bedroom units, there's studios, etc. There's a whole wide range. I mean, if you have a 3-bedroom unit here or a 2-bedroom, it'll do really well with families on the long-term market. Even we did do the numbers there because they're obviously better on the short-term market. But for the long-term market, we're going to now go see another project in a different area, correct?
Yes, we will see another project which will be situated way closer into the city. You will see it's a similar concept with several towers as well. Obviously, there is not a lagoon in the city, but it's really nice to have something long-term also.
All right, cool, fantastic. Let's go check it out.
Let's go.
Just had to tell Matt to calm down with the driving. What's up with your driving?
I mean, I'm really Paraguayan now. I'm driving like crazy in Paraguay.
So Matt, can you tell us a little bit more about what your clients are looking for when they invest in real estate here in Paraguay?
So people coming here, they are mainly looking for diversification because of what's going on in the Western countries and in America also. They are also looking for good yields and good capital gains. That's something you can totally get in Paraguay. More and more people, I can see this tendency, are coming to actually live here. So they would need a house. And also some of them are not ready to come yet, but they are also willing to set a plan B for the future.
And where are most of your clients from? Which countries?
Mostly Europeans. There is also a growing number of Americans coming.
Americans are investing here?
Yes, also, yeah, a lot.
And Canadians, I think?
Yeah, Canadian, of course.
Yeah, Canadians are found all over Latin America just buying up real estate.
Okay, so we arrived to the new place. As you can see, that's really nice. We are actually within the city. Doesn't look like it, but This neighborhood is called Los Laureles. It's a really nice residential neighborhood. The good thing about this place is you can only build up to 6 floors, so there is no crazy skyscraper in the zone. It's pretty chill, not too much traffic, really nice for the families. So we're gonna see this project. For me, it's a really nice project because it's really different from what you can find in Asuncion. Usually you find this kind of project more outside of the town, let's say 30 to 45 minutes from the center. We are actually 5 minutes from Shopping Mariscal, maybe like 10 to 15 minutes from Shopping del Sol. It's a really big land. They will build 3 towers here, but they will keep a lot of trees like this, for example, that has more than 100 years.
Beautiful.
You will have some space to walk around. You will have also amazing amenities like a semi-Olympic pool, more than 100 square meters of gym, a lot of places where you can organize birthdays, places for the kids, paddle course. This project is really unique in this sense is because at the moment in Asuncion it's almost impossible to find places that big to do this kind of project.
Yeah, so look, this neighborhood, Los Laureles, I remember the first time I came to Asuncion, I was here with my family. And my wife really liked this neighborhood compared to other neighborhoods because of how green it is, how calm it is. And also there are some nice supermarkets around. There's a really nice supermarket around the corner.
Just 2 blocks away, Casa Rica.
With a lot of imported stuff. Very family orientated, a little outside of the core center, which I would be typically a little wary of. Because in a city where you can usually build very high and without any limits, here you're a little bit outside. But the fact that it's a huge lot where it'll be like a private space, unlike just a random tower on its own, this makes this project really unique and the pricing is absolutely fair. So when we're looking at all the projects together, you know, this one really stood out for long term. Personally, if I wanted a place for myself and my family long term, compared to the other towers, this is the one that I would go for. Great, so we're gonna do all of the numbers for long-term rentals in a bit, but you bought a place here yourself.
Yeah, actually I bought in the first tower that was launched last year. Now they also launched a second tower because the first tower is fully sold. I think there is just 1 or 2 units actually. But now they started selling the last one, the second one, and then there will be a third one. So I actually bought in this one because I really like the project. For me, when I visited for the first time, it felt amazing. I'm actually living in this neighborhood also. I have a house here. And for me, it made a lot of sense to invest in this neighborhood because it's one of the best in my opinion, especially if you're a foreigner. It's a bit more quiet. I used to walk during the evening. There is a lot of quiet streets. You can walk around. It's not like near Shopping del Sol where it's crazy with the cars.
Yeah.
I mean, it's also possible to walk, but it's not the same environment.
Very walkable.
Yes.
Very walkable here. You bought here yourself.
Yes.
Your business partner also bought a place, right?
Yes, also in the first tower.
Can you give us prices?
For studio, it ranges from $52,000 to $60,000 at the moment. So the price for square meter is quite accessible if you compare to other buildings, pretty much the same. For the 1 bedroom, it would be from 80,000 to 90,000. And for the 2 bedroom, it will be around 130,000. You can note also that if you want a 3 bedroom, it's totally possible to have one. You just need to discuss with the people here and they can mix some
units.
Some
they
units.
can rearrange a few units.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Great. So let's say I buy a 1 bedroom apartment. What's your recommendation? Long-term, short-term, unfurnished, furnished?
For this kind of project, of course, short-term is always working, but I would preferably recommend long-term, especially for the zone, for the area, and for all the amenities. As you said, it's a really nice place to live if you have a family or even if you're single, but you want to be long-term in Asuncion. I would always recommend to go with something furnished because on the local market, there are not so many offers for furnished apartments. The people tend to buy something, put the minimum, like really cheap furniture. It's not selling that well. But if you make a little extra effort, put a little bit more cost into your furniture, you would have a really nice apartment and it will pretty much rent within a week.
You know, I travel all over and I just keep seeing this. People put a lot of money, they buy nice apartments, off-plan properties, and then they'll just, you know, put a cheap couch. It's like, Yeah, so just have a decent budget for furniture. So in the numbers, we put $7,000,
We put 7, yeah.
which gets you something decent here in Asuncion. If you were going to furnish in Argentina, it would be 2-3 times the price. Here things are a lot more affordable. What rent could I expect on a monthly basis?
At this moment, we could expect around $700. We also have to take into account that when the project is finished for the first tower in 2 years, probably the price would go up maybe from 5 to 10% per year.
Okay, so here, there's a lot of construction going on in Asuncion. There will be more supply. Is there going to be more supply than people coming to Asuncion? I don't know. A lot depends on the whole economic situation worldwide. There's a lot of volatility. But what I will say is when we were having a chat with, we came here a few days ago because we're going through all the projects. We're having a chat with one of the sales girls here. And then she was saying, yes, we'll probably increase or we'll potentially increase our prices soon because of the crisis in Hormuz and the energy crisis. We're going to have to, protect our margin. And I was pleasantly surprised to hear this because we're entering uncharted territory with construction really worldwide. And having spoken to a few developers, some are just not even thinking about it. And then there's a risk. I would rather invest in a developer that is proactively thinking of inflation, of oil shocks, etc., so that the thing actually gets built. I find it good that everyone in this company, from clearly senior management to salespeople on the ground, are aware of the situation and understand that pricing has to remain dynamic. That's pretty reassuring.
And to talk a little bit more about the developer, because it's always important to know who you are working with. They already have some experience building this kind of project. They actually did one almost 10 years ago outside of town, like 40 minutes from here, with 8 towers. So this one is obviously a little bit smaller because you don't have so much space in the capital. This developer is the alliance of 2 famous developers here in Paraguay. They made these similar projects before, so we know that for the quality, we know what we can expect, and that's why we are also working with them.
Yeah, it's decent. I mean, we had a look at the showroom. We'll add some in B-roll. It's, standard. It's perfectly fine. Great. So $700 a month for the rental income. We put in an occupancy rate of about 90%. Again, this is unique. It'll be easy to rent out. What's the HOA, the monthly charges?
Basically, we counted $1.3 per square meter. It should be a little bit less, but for 1 bedroom, you should spend around $65 per month.
What about your management fee to take care of management?
So for long-term rental, the management fee is 10%. Basically, if your rent is $700, it should be around $70 per month.
Okay, and you offer the service.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. And what about property tax, other expenses?
For property tax, this is something you pay yearly. So for Asuncion, it's around 400, 450. So in that range, so it's not even too high. And the other thing that you would pay after the construction is done, obviously, is the property title, which will be transferred. And it's 3% of the total price. If you pay $80,000, should be around $2,400.
And what about and a bit of a budget for maintenance, issues?
The budget for maintenance, it really depends on what's happening, of course, but we estimate at around $500 per year. Could be totally less sometimes.
Yeah, especially if it's new.
If it's new, it will be less, but after 5 to 10 years, of course, it will be maybe a little bit more.
Great. So this takes us to a net yield of about 5.6% on the long-term furnished rental market. Short-term, you could also do short-term here. I know a lot of your clients come here. They want a place for 2-3 months a year. The rest of the time they rent it out. It would work here, but it's just a bit more optimized for long-term living, due mostly to the location, the amenities, everything. This is more of a long-term setup. So we looked at a bunch of projects in the past few days, and I decided for us to focus on these 2 because of how unique they are. So the downside is that they're not in the core center. This one is really close. The other one a little farther away, but they're still close. But I believe that the uniqueness of the projects overrides the lack of total centrality of location. And I also like the pricing strategy of these developers that are really increasing prices, and which should protect their margin and give buffer and reduce the risk of them going bankrupt. Because again, uncertain times, maybe I'm overreacting to everything that's going on. I'd rather overreact than underreact. That's the reality of the situation. In the meantime, Asuncion is still booming. There's construction, people are coming here. I would prefer to position myself in projects where I know the developer has a good strategy and where the product is absolutely unique. I wrote a whole report on the Asuncion real estate market, the neighborhoods that are interesting, the neighborhoods that are a little bit less interesting, some key learnings. There is a link below. And if you're interested in real estate here in Asuncion, Matt and his team took me around, showed me a bunch of projects, explained everything. We did all the numbers together. You offer a full turnkey solution. So feel free to get in touch with Matt. There's a link below as well. Matt,
Okay.
thanks
Thanks for the meeting and talk soon.
Make sure to download my free ebook, 12 Mistakes to Avoid When Investing in International Real Estate, which you can find on my website, link below. And feel free to follow me on Instagram @TheWandering Investor. I look forward to hearing from you.